pile of scraps that you saw has now been incorporated into the signatures for the collage book that I'm working on, and I wanted to show it to you before I sewed it all up. I'll go through the stack of signatures in a moment. I have created a case using book cloth and binder's board. It hasn't been punched yet for holes. It just has a canson paper for end sheets. So pretty plain and simple. I created a template on the computer for the hole punching that I wanted to do. I decided I wanted to do kind of a horizontal stitch. And so I'll use that for punching. And then these are the pages that have a bunch of collage papers already put down, and we'll show you how I'm incorporating the shorter papers. So I'm just going to flip through these quickly, and what I will try and do is adhere them in position temporarily with, masking tape, something that won't tear up the pages, so that they don't slip around when I'm sewing. I'm reaching around the tripod, so that's why I'm hemming and hawing. This will fold out. This also has a fold-out page. So you'll see the difference in pages. This is collaged onto here. This will then have a tiny little mini signature inside a signature. And this folds out. Excuse me. So that will be signature 1. You can see there's sort of a blue and yellow theme that has gone through this. And I've used papers that I've painted, stenciled on. I've used Japanese scraps of Japanese paper. Sometimes I will glue the collage paper over a folded sheet. Sometimes I'll cut it off at the edge. Here's another one of my painted papers, which looks, I think, very nice with this. And when I come to actually work on this page, I may stick things onto this tab. I had some Magnani Pescia, which is a very nice printmaking paper in blue, and I tore a sheet down of that so that I would have something in every signature. Actually, I tore 2 sheets down because I have 4 signatures here. Again, another mini signature, but this one I've staggered, so we'll see what happens. Maybe nothing of interest, but you never know. So I'm giving myself an optimum amount of play space. And this is something that you can do with any of the scraps that you have left over from your other projects. Even little sheets like this can be useful and add interest. I might stick a whole big drawing on the back of this and frame this in some way. You don't know until you get there. And this folds out. A little tiny, it's not a signature, it's just a little tiny sheet. And you can see the theme of repeating papers to sort of cohesively hold it together. I like that. Now I may totally deconstruct that when I actually start working on these pages, but I think it's kind of fun to have something like that. This is a discontinued paper that I really love, and I couldn't bear to part with that sheet, which is left over from another project. So, there you have the 4 signatures, a quick flip through. Here's the sewn book. I don't know if it's going to show up as navy blue, but that's the color the book cloth is. I decided to use 2 colors of 4-cord waxed Irish linen on the back so that I would get a nice pattern between the stitches. So that's what's going on there. There's orange and yellow thread, and then that mirrors the use of orange, blue, and yellow inside the book. I was a little overambitious about how much I put in this book, and my signatures are a little flat, or a little too fat, and so there's a little bit of density there. Normally these books, when you bind them, trying to get my hand out of the way here, are almost like that when you finish. So I had approximately 5 thicknesses of paper in each signature, and those were 5 thick pieces of paper. If you're using thinner paper, you can get by with that. Normally you want to keep it down to about 4 thicknesses at any given place in the signature, keeping in mind that you're going to be adding other stuff, which is going to make it even more fat when it gets done. Here we are. And to make this easier, and because you want to get the tape off as soon as you've finished punching, I pre-sewed with a running stitch just up and down in the holes there for each signature. I just sewed them together with a running stitch before sewing them into the spine. It helps so that you don't have to constantly be shuffling through to hold all these little sheets together. And you do want to get that tape off as soon as possible, especially if you're working with something as soft as Reeves BFK or the Pescia, which is the blue paper here, because the tape, even on for a brief time, will start to pull up fibers of the paper. So, in the centers you can see my, oh, here's a little bit of my preliminary thread I haven't taken out yet. You can see the colors of the thread, and that doesn't irritate me. Seeing the knots doesn't bother me. You can cover that with a collage if you want. Well, there's a bit of tape left over that I have to get off as soon as possible. So, that's what this journal looks like now, empty, but it's actually rather quite full of things already.